love movies that talk about that. I love what? Nothing. I just like you.
Welcome to Drag Vault. Today, why everyone worships Trixie Mattel and Katya Zamolodchikova. Let's dive in.
This isn't Maury Povich.
Trixie Mattel didn't just appear fully formed with her Barbie dreamhouse aesthetic. Those sky-high blonde wigs, exaggerated lashes that could sweep a runway clean, and that honey-dripping Midwestern drawl that makes every sentence sound like a passive-aggressive compliment wrapped in velvet. No, she was forged in the unyielding, gray-skied crucible of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a place where the winters bite harder than the gossip, the cheese curds are endless and artery-clogging, and being a flamboyantly gay kid in the early 2000s felt like auditioning daily for the role of town pariah, complete with standing ovations from bullies and encores from confused gym teachers. Brian Furcus, as Trixie was known in her boy drag days, grew up in a working-class family where resources were tighter than a poorly sewn corset. Emotions ran even tighter like a bad tuck, and the daily grind of school meant dodging slurs, side-eyes, and the kind of casual homophobia that masquerades as tough love from peers who secretly envied her spark.
My stepdad growing up, he used to call me a trixie whenever I was acting too feminine or too emotional.
She escaped into the smoky back rooms of local comedy clubs as a wide-eyed teenager, sneaking past bouncers with notebooks full of material that was already sharpening into the deadpan precision we adore today. Razor-sharp observations about suburban mundanity, family dinners gone wrong, and the quiet desperation of Midwest life, all laced with a bitterness that only a smart, hurting queer teen could muster while pretending to laugh along. By the time she hit college at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, majoring in musical theater and minoring in how to survive without therapy, Trixie was experimenting with drag not as a hobby, but as full-throated rebellion. Taking the hyper-feminine doll archetype, all plastic perfection and impossible proportions, and weaponizing it against everyone who'd ever called her fag, weird, or too much. That big, bouncy blonde hair that defies gravity, those pastel palettes straight out of a fever dream, the mile-long lashes. It wasn't just campy fun or a cute gimmick. It was emotional Kevlar, a shiny, impenetrable shell encasing the awkward boy who'd learned to laugh at his own pain before anyone else could weaponize it against her. Trixie's early drag shows in dingy Milwaukee bars were raw, unpolished diamonds, blending stand-up timing sharper than a contour knife with ukulele strums and original songs about heartbreak that sounded deceptively sweet but stung like vinegar in an open wig block. Tales of unrequited crushes, small-town suffocation, and the grind of turning rejection into rhinestones. She hustled every local gig she could snag, from pride after-parties to wedding gigs where drunk uncles requested YMCA, building a small but fiercely devoted following who saw past the doll to the dynamo underneath. And by the time Drag Race Season 7 casting calls hit, Trixie entered not as a polished pro straight out of LA, but as this peculiar country Barbie caricature. Equal parts pioneer girl and plastic fantastic, polarizing from the very first toot toot entrance, because some judges and viewers dismissed her as a one-trick pony trotting in circles, while others immediately clocked the genius in her unwavering commitment to a persona that screamed, "I'm pretty, I'm perfect, and I'm thriving despite every single one of you haters."
My name is Ekaterina Petrovna Zamolodchikova, but you can call me Katya.
Meanwhile, across the continent, in the brick and beer-soaked streets of Boston, Massachusetts, Katya Zamolodchikova was brewing a very different kind of storm. One that felt less like a sunny dollhouse tea party and more like a vodka-fueled fever dream in a snowbound dacha. Brian McCook came from a more academic, intellectually curious background. Parents who valued books, ideas, and articulate dinner table debates, which fueled his early obsessions with theater, linguistics, Russian literature, and that signature Eastern European inflected persona he'd spend years perfecting in the gritty underground queer scenes of New England. Katya's drag wasn't born from the slow burn repression of Midwest suburbia. It erupted from a potent cocktail of intellectual curiosity mixed with a reckless penchant for self-destruction and performance art that drew deep from the surreal absurdism of Russian masters like Gogol and Dostoevsky, blended with the chaotic cabaret vibes of Eastern European expat shows she'd binge in smoky clubs. She studied Russian language and culture in college, jetted off abroad for immersion programs where she honed accents thicker than borscht, and dove headfirst into Boston's underground drag world, the kind of spots where fishnets fray at the seams, and the crowd cheers for queens who teeter on the edge of brilliance and breakdown. By the time Drag Race Season 7 rolled around, Katya wasn't just another hopeful queen padding her resume. She was a walking, talking fever dream of alienation and artistry, bursting into the workroom with that inscrutable Russian accent rolling like thunder, wild eyes that had clearly seen the abyss and decided to make out with it, and a runway presence that screamed, "I've seen things, darlings, and none of them were pretty." Her looks were architectural chaos personified, towering, gravity-defying wigs piled like unstable Jenga towers, mismatched prints clashing harder than family holidays, a face painted with the precision of a deranged surgeon that could launch 1,000 therapy bills or fan art tributes. And her comedy was pure, unscripted, white-hot improvisation, riffing seamlessly on addiction demons, cultural alienation, and the yawning void of existence with a sly wink that invited you to join the madness. Where Trixie embodied meticulous control, aspirational perfection, and the art of building oneself brick by glittery brick, Katya was glorious, unapologetic implosion. The clown who'd stared into the abyss recognized herself in it and decided to vogue triumphantly right there in the dark. Season 7 threw these two cosmic opposites together, not as cutthroat rivals clawing for the same crown, but as perfect foils whose energies sparked like flint on steel. Trixie's meticulously curated doll world of pastels and precision clashing beautifully, explosively, with Katya's unhinged artistry of thrift store surrealism and spontaneous spirals, creating a chemistry that fans clocked immediately from their shared workroom glances and untucked banter, even if the show's edit at the time didn't quite capture the full electric potential yet, planting seeds for the duo that would conquer the world. Season 7 of RuPaul's Drag Race was an absolute powder keg of outsized personalities, clashing aesthetics, and enough workroom tension to power a small city's drag brunches. But Trixie and Katya's paths crossed in ways that felt less like random casting coincidence and more like cosmic fate, scripted by a mischievous drag deity with a vendetta against boredom. Trixie entered the workroom with sky-high pre-show buzz humming from her local Milwaukee fame. Those viral ukulele parody videos that had gay Twitter gagged, and an armory of doll-themed runways ready to deploy. But she hit safe challenge after safe challenge like a Barbie car stuck in neutral. Her hyper-feminine country bumpkin persona reading as brilliantly committed to some judges who loved the unwavering shtick, while others dismissed it as one-note and predictable, craving more edge from the pint-sized powerhouse. The drama peaked in that messy, unforgettable alliance with Pearl Lipton tea, full of passive-aggressive confessionals dripping with subtext. Pearl's my sister, but sisters fight. You know how it is. Workroom tension thick enough to cut with a bedazzled knife, and fan forums exploding as viewers picked sides in what felt like the doll versus the dominatrix showdown of the season. But Trixie sashayed away in 6th place just before the finale fireworks. Her exit speech a masterclass in gracious shade that left everyone wanting more. I'm just a doll in a big bad world. What do you expect? Perfection every time? Toot toot, bitches. Katya, on the other hand, electrified the competition from her very first "Welcome to the Land of LOL" entrance strut. Her lip syncs to thumping tracks like Windows by Missy Elliott and Mi Gente by J Balvin, turning into athletic poetry in motion. Splits, twerks, and facial expressions that defied physics. While her runways mixed high-concept fever visions with hot mess brilliance in the best possible way, earning gasps and giggles in equal measure. But the dark clouds of her personal demons surfaced raw on camera during Untucked. That infamous spiral where she confessed to staring into the void of addiction and self-worth, voice trembling under the studio lights, leading to a 5th place sachet that felt less like a competitive defeat and more like a merciful pause button on her unraveling, prompting fan riots across Reddit, Tumblr, and early Twitter, with petitions circling, hashtags trending, and the edit humanizing her chaos in a way early Drag Race seasons rarely dared, turning potential villainy into vulnerable legend.
For somebody with almost no performance experience, Miss Fame has a lot to say when it comes to putting something together.
Go ahead.
Neither queen faded into the ether of one-and-done Drag Race hopefuls. Thank the drag gods. Trixie channeled that mid-season loss into pure, relentless hustle mode. Non-stop touring with ukulele-fueled one-woman shows that packed houses from Milwaukee dives to coastal theaters, dropping her debut album One Stone to Critical and bootstrapping the seed money for Trixie Cosmetics from bedroom sales of glitter eyeshadows mixed in her apartment bathroom.
But I'm in it to win it. I know the song like the back of my man hands, and I think I'm going out kicking and screaming.
It's kind of embarrassing to be a comedy queen and go home on a comedy challenge. I had more cool looks, I had better jokes, and I'm funnier
Her
than what I was
triumphant
showing.
return on All Stars 3 was redemption perfected to glossy doll standards. Strategic gameplay that silenced doubters, polished performances that sparkled under pressure, and a crowning lip sync to Christina Aguilera's Fighter that proved the plastic fantastic could scrap, scheme, and snatch the crown with the best of them, leaving panelists Michelle Visage and Carson Kressley openly. Katya's arc was wilder, more unpredictable, mirroring her persona. Fan-voted redemption on All Stars 2, where she dominated early challenges with surreal reads and show-stopping lip syncs that had the internet crowning her pre-finale.
Stop. Now, sashay away.
And here, you let me believe it myself.
Only to choose a voluntary self-elimination in episode 4, about needing to go home, get my head right, and face the void off camera. In a moment so raw, so gloriously mad, it redefined what a glamorous exit could mean, sparking think pieces, memes, and a surge in her solo bookings overnight. Their parallel trajectories, early main stage exits flipped into off-stage empires, losses alchemized into living legends, mirrored each other like funhouse reflections, bonding fans who shipped the duo hard before they'd even collaborated formally, united by shared survivor status in a cutthroat show that chews up dreams and spits out sound bites.
Have you ever had someone in your life who's a horrible singer who's pursuing music?
Trump's America.
In post-show interviews and podcasts, Trixie's called Katya her chaos soulmate who keeps my doll world from getting too tidy. Katya's praised Trixie's iron discipline as the anchor I never knew I needed amid my shipwrecks. Drag Race didn't hand them crowns or confetti. It made them witnesses to each other's glow-ups, forging a bond stronger than any scripted sisterhood, one that would propel them from workroom glances to worldwide worship. Then came 2016, and with it, World of Wonder's gloriously low-budget gamble on 2 folding chairs, a wobbly green screen backdrop that looked like it was salvaged from a community theater reject bin, a shared iPad propped up as a teleprompter for randomly generated topics like sex, anxiety, nudity, or why we hate ourselves. And suddenly, drag comedy had its own unhinged answer to Between Two Ferns or Inside Amy Schumer, but gayer, messier, and infinitely more therapeutic. Trixie slipped into her role like a perfectly fitted bodysuit, the surgeon with laser-precise timing, dissecting the everyday absurdities of modern life with that signature Midwestern dryness that could freeze lava.
This person doesn't like asking for help or receiving it.
No, but I certainly do need it.
Because you know when you do highlights, then all of a sudden the deep parts of your eye makeup look deeper?
I know. I fucking hate it here. I hate this job.
Marriage is just shared poverty with company and passive-aggressive dishwashing. Her punchlines landing with the inevitability of a sequin avalanche. Katya was the wildfire tearing through the set, surreal, unstoppable tangents that veered from profound to profane in heartbeat seconds.
Yes, God.
That explains your balls.
Yeah.
This would be my trade wig. No?
Absolutely not. I'm always looking to improve the quality of my feet.
Stops at the ankle, huh? You haven't seen anything.
Her accent thickening like molasses as punchlines spiraled into oblivion, pulling Trixie along for the ride whether she liked it or not. Episodes clocked in at a tight 10 minutes, but packed the density of hours worth of stand-up. Running gags about Trixie's irrational doll phobia escalating to full hysteria, Katya's endless Russian roulette with sobriety and sanity, mutual roasts that landed like love taps from a bedazzled boxing glove, all edited with quick cuts that amplified the frenzy.
There is no greater glory. What the was that?
You said, I'll cry it now, then you went,
The real genius of Ah, though, was how they alchemized private pain into public punchlines, turning trauma into a communion wafer for a generation of queer fans starving for representation that didn't sanitize the struggle. Take the anxiety episode. Trixie unpacks her perfectionism as ritualized self-flagellation with surgical honesty. I'll redo my makeup 17 times because good enough is for peasants, and I'm secretly punishing myself for existing. Her voice steady, but eyes betraying the exhaustion. Katya dives headfirst into her addictive spirals with unfiltered poetry. I've blacked out in every time zone known to man, woken up with strangers' cats on my chest, and realized the void isn't coming for me. I'm already living in it. Or the legendary Sex installment. Trixie stays clinical and queenly. I'm a pillow princess extraordinaire. Receive only, no assembly required. Sue me if you can't keep up. While Katya goes full apocalypse. Men are just warm furniture with opinions and questionable hygiene. I've had so much sex, I've started growing a penis from friction alone. Fans didn't just laugh until they snorted their iced coffees. They therapized in real time, quoting lines in Reddit therapy threads, stitching TikTok edits with captions like, "Trixie made me embrace my inner Barbie boss. Katya taught me the void's not fatal. It's just Tuesday."
Hold on 1 sec. I need a little paper towel. 1 sec.
She's going to drink.
You look like a pot holder.
Did you bring drag to Thailand?
I certainly did not. I brought 3 pairs of dirty shorts and flip-flops.
So you did bring your drag to Thailand.
Queer humor has always doubled as survival code. Think the waspish brilliance of Paul Lynde on Hollywood Squares, the boozy candor of Charles Nelson Riley, or even Joan Rivers turning self-loathing into stardom. But Trixie and Katya democratized it for the streaming, scrolling era, turning personal wreckage into communal catharsis that felt like group therapy with better lighting.
That's superstitious and crazy.
Okay, you're wearing a baseball cap with a pom-pom on it.
What is the most physical pain you've ever felt in your life at one time?
Oh. I mean, this is pretty bad.
What?
This.
Listen.
Actual studies on trauma-informed comedy, yes, academics have clocked this, show how laughter rewires stress responses in the brain, releasing dopamine floods that mimic medication. Their fans testify to it nightly in comment sections and convention hugs. They got me through depression, coming out, my first breakup. Laughing at the mess made it manageable. Trixie and Katya didn't set out to heal the world or rewrite psychology textbooks. They just made surviving its bullshit hilarious. One unhinged episode at a time.
Climbing all over your
You're the freak. You're the freak.
Cállate la boca.
Trixie Mattel didn't stop at viral web sketches or fan favorite confessionals. She built an actual empire on the shaky foundations of irony, hustle, and hyper-feminine camp, turning Plastic Fantastic into a multi-million-dollar lifestyle brand that mocks consumerism even as it dominates it. Trixie Cosmetics launched in 2018 from her home mixing station. Glitter eyeshadows in shades like Swerve, Electric Blue Chaos, Mattel Yellow, Unapologetic Barbie Piss, and Doll Skull, Smoky Existential Gray, flying off shelves at drag cons and pop-up shops to fund bigger dreams, evolving into a full line distributed at Ulta with vegan formulas and packaging that screams, "I'm pretty and I'm profitable." Her music career exploded with albums like One Stone, 2017, and Barbara, 2020, blending twangy country folk with razor-wit drag confessionals. Tracks like Baby I'm a Star, savage satirizing fame's hunger pangs. Everybody wants a piece, but nobody wants the work. Ruthless, skewering toxic exes with ukulele venom sweeter than saccharine revenge, charting higher on Billboard folk than most straight country acts dare dream.
Hi, my name is Brian Furcus. I'm 15 years old and I'm from Wasaki, Wisconsin.
Critics hailed her as Casey Musgraves in a wig with sharper claws, praising how she wove Midwest melancholy into anthems that felt both radio-ready and runway risque. Then came Trixie Motel, Drag Camp, 2022 Netflix series, where she restored a rundown Palm Springs motel dump into a drag paradise. Episodes packed with plumbing disasters mid-glamour shoots, doll shrines in every room causing guest freakouts, cameos from Detox and other RPDR alums, turning renovation tropes into queer chaos TV gold, blending HGTV polish with the unscripted hilarity of queens arguing over grout colors.
Yes, we're newly renovated. You want to stay the night? At your service. What happens when a world-famous drag queen buys and renovates a motel in the middle of the desert? The rooms are almost ready. No peeking.
Her 2024 memoir, Slaying the Game, dishes unvarnished drag economics. From fan funding tours on Kickstarter to navigating shady managers and corporate shade, positioning her as the mogul mentor for a generation of queens dreaming beyond the runway. Trixie's camp is pure capitalist critique wrapped in candy coating. Barbie as billionaire, satirizing the very dream she packages and sells. Hyperfemininity as both luxury product and protest armor against the world that told her dolls were for girls only.
I don't want to look like a woman, I want to look like a thing. I want to look like a thing that you could pull a string on the back, you know what I mean? Have to talk. I guess I just like to dress up.
Katya Zemolodchikova plays the perfect foil as drag's ultimate anti-empire agent. Her brand, less a monolith and more a beautiful bonfire of absurdities that fans flock to watch burn. Her merch line thrives on the ridiculous, tees emblazoned with Katya 2024, Chaos Agent for President. Mugs reading Void Approved. Enamel pins of her wild-eyed glare, selling out because it's the opposite of Trixie's tidy empire.
Roxy Andrews, I think about you all the time, especially in the morning, at the bus stop. Too soon, sorry.
Pure wreckage wrapped in wit. Comedy specials like Navigating the Pandemic 2021 were less traditional stand-up and more stream-of-consciousness rants, blending COVID absurdism, sobriety wisdom, and surreal monologues about twinks as modern folklore, streaming to cult audiences who quote her like scripture. She tours solo with theatrical monologues that mash Tolstoy's despair with tales of blackout hookups, but Katya resists the full mogul machine on principle. No cosmetics empire clogging shelves, no motel flips clogging Netflix queues, just raw, unfiltered art dropped when the muse, or mania, strikes. This delicious tension between them fuels the entire fandom ecosystem. Trixie's relentless, build it bigger, glossier, more ethos versus Katya's poetic, burn it all beautifully and dance in the ashes, mirroring the eternal push-pull of queer life under capitalism, where we hustle for survival one day and torch the script the next. Gen Z and elder millennials devour this dynamic like oxygen. Ironic sincerity thriving in late-stage absurdism, where Trixie's high-gloss ambition validates the grind through hell, and Katya's gritty chaos reminds us it's okay to laugh at the flames.
Are you excited?
Excitement is a frivolous emotion that I don't bother with. I prefer to stand in the moment, grounded, and receptive to any... Excitement is for tiny people with tiny lives. I'm thrilled.
Well, this show is sort of...
Underpinning every sketch, tour, album drop, and empire expansion is a friendship so palpable, so spiritually charged, it feels like watching chosen family evolve in real time on your screen. Raw, earned, and utterly spiritual. Watch any deep cut episode like the infamous sobriety installment. Katya, fresh off her 2018 rehab hiatus, voice cracking under the weight of fresh vulnerability as she recounts relapses and revelations. Trixie listens without interrupting her usual snark, then roasts gently to lighten the load. You're sober now? Miracles do happen. Hell must be freezing over. Before pulling her into a hug that says more than any Hallmark card ever could. Or flip to Trixie's Netflix doc, Moving Parts, where she confesses business burnout and the loneliness of mogul life amid tour buses and boardrooms. Katya guests on set, offering surreal solace. Embrace the void, doll. It's just God's way of redecorating your soul that cuts through the exhaustion like a lifeline. It's queer chosen family incarnate, performed for the masses. Roasts as the highest form of affection, strategic silences as sacred support, never dipping into pity party territory, because these two know better than to let damage define the dynamic. From Boston dive bars where Katya first honed her chaos, to LA live streams where Trixie built her brand, drag friendships have always birthed legends. Think the electric sibling rivalry love of Sharon Needles and Alaska, or the ride-or-die sisterhood of Detox and Ongina. But Trixie and Katya digitized the whole messy miracle, making high-stakes intimacy scalable for a global fandom hungry for blueprints. Fans pair up IRL as My Trixie, the planner, the polisher, and My Katya, the wild card, the whirlwind, projecting this duo's dynamics onto brunches gone wrong, crises navigated at 2 a.m., and every queer friendship that thrives on tension as much as tenderness. Their decade-plus run, from accidental workroom sparks to sold-out world tours, proves they're not just co-stars riding fame's coattails. They're co-conspirators in the grandest sense, turning personal apocalypses into shared sermons that preach resilience through relentless ribbing.
Holding up really well. I did see her sitting upright asleep with a gas can. So that could be a prop, it could be a threat. I don't know. We're about to shoot a look pumping gas, so she's in this gown and I'm in this, and it's gonna be like really rich, glamorous people.
They endure as perfect mirrors to the queer spectrum. Trixie's relentless ambition building empires from ashes. Katya's radiant acceptance laughing through collapse. From viral birth to global tours and tie-ins, they redefined post-Drag Race fame as self-made sorcery. We stand not stars, but survival styled as shimmering success. All of this, the pain turned into punchlines, the contrast between ruthless ambition and beautiful chaos, and the brutally honest friendship holding it together, makes people love them because they feel less like distant celebrities and more like the messy, hilarious, resilient versions of ourselves we wish we could be out loud.
You know I'm not going to go to sleep until you make out with me. This is friendship.
I'm gonna fuck you so hard tonight.
Come a small kiss for you, yeah, mama.
I can't.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
No, I'm gonna get red lipstick.